First Contact and Ultimatum. Commander Elena Reyes stood at the viewport of the International Space Defense Station, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic display showing the approaching vessels. They had appeared without warning, 7 massive ships shaped like elongated diamonds, their surfaces rippling with what looked like liquid metal. The vessels had emerged from what their sensors could only describe as non-space at the edge of the Kuiper Belt. "Analysis complete, Commander," announced Dr. Marcus Way, his fingers dancing across multiple holographic interfaces. Each vessel masses approximately 300 million metric tons. Energy readings are, well, they're literally off our charts. We're detecting technology that violates what we thought were universal physical constants. Elena nodded, keeping her expression neutral despite the gravity of the situation. 20 years of military service had taught her the value of staying calm in crisis, and they're heading straight for Earth. Correct. At current velocity, they'll reach Earth orbit in approximately 47 hours. The command center of the ISDS hummed with activity as the best minds humanity had to offer analyzed every scrap of data they could gather about the visitors. The station, humanity's most advanced military installation, had only been operational for 3 years, a collaboration between Earth's major powers following the resource wars of 2157. "Commander," called out Lieutenant Sarah Chen from her communication station, her voice tight with tension. "We're receiving a transmission. All frequencies, all languages, simultaneously." Elena straightened her uniform. "Put it through." The air in the command center shimmered, and a figure materialized, a holographic projection of a being that seemed to be composed of crystalline structures and flowing energy. When it spoke, its voice resonated not just through the speakers, but seemed to vibrate in their bones. "Greetings, species designation. Human. We are the Nexus Collective. Your civilization has been monitored since you achieved quantum communication capabilities. You have been deemed suitable for integration. Resistance is inadvisable. We have successfully integrated 12,847 civilizations. Your biological and technological distinctiveness will be preserved and utilized for the greater good of the collective." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. The being's words were precise, clinical, and utterly devoid of emotion. "This is Commander Elena Reyes of the International Space Defense Station. We welcome peaceful contact with other civilizations, but we do not accept ultimatums." The crystalline being's form shifted, patterns of light flowing through its structure. "Your acceptance is not required. Integration will proceed according to established protocols. You have 40 of your Earth hours to prepare your leadership for the initial phase of integration. Be advised that attempting to resist will result in unnecessary suffering." The hologram disappeared, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Dr. Way's voice broke the quiet. "Commander, I've analyzed their transmission. The technology they're using. It's like they're speaking to every human mind simultaneously, regardless of language or location. Everyone on Earth heard that message." Elena activated the secure link to the Emergency Defense Council. Within moments, the faces of Earth's unified military and political leadership appeared on screens around her. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, "I assume you all received the transmission. What they don't know is that we've been preparing for this possibility for decades. Protocol Omega is ready for implementation." General Zhang of the Asian Alliance leaned forward. The simulation showed a 60% chance of success against a technologically superior force. "But these beings, they're beyond what we anticipated, which is exactly why we need to act now," Elena replied. "Dr. Way, share your findings." Marcus stepped forward, his holographic data displays expanding to fill the room. "The collected ships are incredibly advanced, but they follow patterns we can analyze. They're methodical, systematic. Their reference to established protocols suggests they've never faced a species that successfully resisted. This could be both their greatest strength and their critical weakness." Elena watched as the council members processed this information. "We have something they don't expect. Project Prometheus. The council members shifted uncomfortably. Project Prometheus had been humanity's greatest secret, a technological development program that had pushed the boundaries of physics, biology, and human consciousness itself. The collective thinks they're dealing with a pre-integration civilization, Elena continued. They don't know about the quantum consciousness network, the dark matter reactors, or the phase shift technology we've developed. Most importantly, they don't know about our history, how humanity has always fought hardest when backed into a corner. Council President Adayemi's deep voice cut through the tension. Commander Rise, you're suggesting we not only resist, but attempt to defeat a civilization that has successfully conquered over 12,000 others. Elena's lips curved into a slight smile. No, Mr. President. I'm suggesting we show them why humans are different, why we've survived every catastrophe, every war, every challenge we've ever faced. They think they're dealing with just another civilization to absorb. Let's show them they're dealing with humanity. The council deliberated for exactly 3 minutes. The vote was unanimous. Elena turned to her crew. Send the following message to the collective. We decline integration. We strongly advise you to reconsider your approach. Humanity does not respond well to threats. As the message was transmitted, Elena watched the alien ships on the display. They hadn't moved, hadn't shown any sign of concern. They were about to learn what so many others throughout human history had learned. Underestimating humanity was a deadly mistake. Begin Protocol Omega, she ordered. And may whatever gods they believe in help them, because they're about to learn why humans are the thing other species should fear in the dark. Throughout the solar system, hidden installations began powering up. Quantum gates activated, dark matter reactors surged to life, and consciousness networks hummed with activity. Humanity had been preparing for this moment not just for decades, but for its entire history of conflict and survival. The game was about to change, and the Nexus Collective had no idea what they had just started. The price of underestimation. Primary observer X 387 watched the data streams flow through its crystalline consciousness matrix, analyzing humanity's response to the integration notice. The being's energy patterns flickered with what might have been amusement. Curious, it communicated to the integration fleet's command cluster. They suggest we should fear them. No species has exhibited such confidence since the Galactic Empire. Integration Cycle 7249. The command cluster pulsed with unified certainty. Standard protocol would proceed. As the deadline approached, the collected ships began their carefully choreographed deployment. 12,000 successful integrations had refined their methods to perfection. They never saw the first strike coming. Deep within the asteroid belt, humanity's quantum-linked defense platforms activated simultaneously. Not with conventional weapons, the collective had defenses against those, but with targeted dark matter pulses that briefly altered the fundamental properties of spacetime around their ships. X 387's consciousness blazed with alarm as 3 support vessels suddenly found themselves occupying the same space-time coordinates as nearby asteroids. The resulting spatial anomalies tore the ships apart at the quantum level. Impossible, the observer broadcast. Their technological level was assessed at Integration Category 4. These are Category 1 weapons. Commander Rise watched from the ISDS as the first phase of Protocol Omega unfolded. Looks like they bought our deception, she noted, allowing herself a small smile. Dr. Wei, status of the Quantum Consciousness Network. Marcus's fingers danced across his interfaces. Network is stable. 10 million human minds linked and contributing processing power. We're outthinking their AI by a factor of 1,000 to 1. The collective's remaining ships regrouped, their liquid metal surfaces rippling with increased energy output. They launched what they considered their most devastating weapon, a cascade of nanobots designed to rewrite any technology they encountered. But humanity had planned for this too. Release the biomechanical countermeasures, Elena ordered. From Earth's orbital platforms, swarms of engineered microorganisms were deployed, a hybrid of terrestrial bacteria and quantum-engineered machines. The nanobots encountered something they had never been programmed to fight: life itself, enhanced by technology, but driven by the fundamental tenacity of biological evolution. In the command cluster of the collective's flagship, X-387 witnessed something unprecedented. The nanobots weren't just being destroyed. They were being reprogrammed and absorbed into the human defense systems. Analysis required. The observer transmitted urgently. Humans are displaying technological capabilities far beyond their apparent development stage. More concerning, they are demonstrating adaptation rates that exceed all known parameters. The collective launched their second wave. Temporal disruption fields designed to freeze their opponents in time. But humanity's quantum consciousness network had already calculated this possibility. The ISDS and Earth's defense platforms phase-shifted, temporarily existing in a different dimensional plane. They're following their standard protocols, Elena noted, watching the tactical displays, just as the simulations predicted. They've never needed to develop new strategies because their old ones always worked. President Adeyemi's voice came through the command channel. "Commander, the collective is broadcasting on all frequencies again." The crystalline being appeared once more, its energy patterns noticeably less stable. "Your resistance exceeds predicted parameters. You will submit clarification of your technological capabilities immediately." Elena stepped forward. "We warned you to reconsider. Humanity doesn't just develop technology. We adapt, we evolve, we learn. Every challenge makes us stronger. Every threat teaches us new ways to survive." "Impossible," the being responded. "Your species had not achieved interstellar travel. Our protocols are based on 12,000 successful integrations." "That was your first mistake," Elena replied. "You judged us by what we showed you. Let me share something from our history. Humans have been practicing deception and warfare since we were hunting mammoths with sharpened sticks." The collected ships began a new formation, preparing for what had always been their final option: complete planetary isolation using dimensional barriers. But humanity had prepared for this too. "Dr. Wei," Elena commanded, "initiate Protocol Omega Phase 2. Throughout the solar system, hidden quantum gates activated. The gates had been humanity's greatest secret, not just for travel, but for weaponizing space-time itself. The collective's dimensional technology suddenly found itself opposed by something they had never encountered: humans using fundamental forces of the universe in ways their rigid protocols had never imagined. "Your species will be studied," the crystalline being declared, its transmission showing signs of strain. "Your resistance techniques will be analyzed and countered." "That's your second mistake," Elena responded. "You think this is the best we can do. We're just getting started. We've spent our entire history fighting, adapting, and overcoming. Every time you think you've figured us out, we'll show you something new." As if to prove her point, the quantum gates began generating overlapping fields of distorted space-time, creating a web of gravitational anomalies that trapped the collected ships in a maze of their own twisted physics. In the consciousness matrix of X-387, an unfamiliar sensation began to form. The closest translation in human terms would be doubt. The observer watched as its perfect protocols, refined over millennia of successful integrations, crumbled in the face of human ingenuity. They had prepared for resistance, but not for this, not for a species that turned the very laws of physics into weapons, that adapted faster than their AIs could calculate, that seemed to thrive on the challenge of impossible odds. As the battle continued to unfold, a new message began transmitting from Earth to every ship in the collective's fleet. "This is only the beginning. Still want to find out what else we can do." For the first time in 12,000 integrations, the collective faced a choice they had never encountered before: adapt or fail. They were about to learn that humans had mastered that choice eons ago, and they were more than happy to teach this lesson the hard way. Adaptation and innovation. The collective's emergency council convened in their quantum-linked consciousness matrix, energy patterns crackling with unprecedented discord. For the first time in their recorded history, integration protocols had failed completely. High Observer X-387 projected its findings to the Council. Analysis of human defensive capabilities reveals disturbing patterns. They are not merely using technology. They are merging it with biological adaptation at a rate that defies our models. In Earth orbit, Commander Reyes and her team were proving this assessment correct. The ISDS had transformed into something the collective had never seen, a hybrid of machine, biological systems, and linked human consciousness. The station's walls pulsed with engineered bacteria that could absorb and redirect energy attacks, while quantum-linked human operators guided its responses with impossible precision. They're adapting their shield frequencies, Dr. Wei reported. His consciousness merged with the station's sensors. But they're still thinking linearly, trying to counter our last move instead of predicting our next one. Alina's mind, connected to the quantum network, processed tactical data faster than any conventional computer. That's because they've never needed to think differently. Show them what happens when you push humans to innovate. The next phase of humanity's response began. From hidden bases throughout the solar system, swarms of microscopic machines were released, not to attack, but to learn. Each swarm carried a fragment of the human consciousness network, observing, analyzing, and adapting to the collective's technology in real time. In the collective's command ship, X-387 watched with growing concern as its defensive systems began reporting anomalies. The humans are not attempting to destroy our technology, it reported to the Council. They are understanding it, evolving with it. Impossible, declared the primary consciousness. No species can adapt at such rates. But humanity was proving them wrong. The swarms had already begun replicating the collective's quantum communication networks, but with a distinctly human twist. Instead of rigid protocols, they created adaptive, evolving systems that grew stronger with each attempted countermeasure. Alina received the latest analysis from the swarms. Dr. Wei, look at their ship architecture. It's not just technology. It's alive, in its own way. They've merged organic crystalline structures with their machines, just like we did. But they stopped innovating once they found a system that worked. Classic evolutionary trap, Marcus agreed. They reached a peak and stopped climbing. Humans never stop looking for the next peak. The collective launched what they believed to be an overwhelming response, a massive wave of techno-organic constructs designed to overwhelm Earth's defenses through sheer numbers. But humanity had spent centuries practicing for exactly this kind of fight. Initiate Protocol Omega Phase 3, Alina commanded. Throughout the solar system, quantum gates activated in a new configuration. But instead of generating weapons or shields, they created something unprecedented. A network of microscopic wormholes that connected every human defender into a single, unified consciousness while maintaining their individual creativity and adaptability. The effect was immediate and devastating. Human military units began operating with perfect coordination, while still maintaining the unpredictability that made them so dangerous. Each soldier, each weapon, each defense system became part of a greater whole that could think and adapt as fast as thought itself. In the collective's consciousness matrix, X-387 watched in growing alarm as its forces were systematically dismantled by an enemy that seemed to be evolving new strategies in real time. Observe, it transmitted to the Council. They are not simply using their technology. They are becoming it, yet remaining undeniably human. Each defeat makes them stronger. Each adaptation we develop is countered not just with technology, but with creativity we cannot predict. The Council's energy patterns fluctuated with increasing disorder. How do they maintain coherence? One member demanded. Such rapid adaptation should cause chaos, system breakdown. Because they embrace chaos, X-387 realized. It is not merely their technology we fail to understand. It is their nature. They do not seek perfect order as we do. They thrive in disorder, grow stronger through conflict, become more unified through challenge. On the ISDS, Alina felt the quantum network humming with the combined consciousness of billions of humans, each contributing their unique perspective to the battle. Engineers suggested impossible solutions that soldiers made work. Scientists proposed theoretical weapons that tacticians turned into reality. Artists envisioned new ways of thinking that strategists transformed into victory. "They're pulling back," Marcus announced, monitoring the collective's movements. "Regrouping at the edge of the system." Alina nodded, feeling the combined satisfaction of humanity's unified consciousness. "They're learning, but not fast enough. Send them another message." The transmission was brief. "Your protocols are based on what worked before. Ours are based on what no one has tried yet. Care to guess which approach works better?" In the quantum consciousness matrix, X-387 processed this message with growing understanding. The collective had spent millennia perfecting a system that worked against predictable opposition. But humans were anything but predictable. They didn't just adapt to survive. They adapted to thrive, to grow stronger, to push boundaries simply because those boundaries existed. "We must reconsider our approach," it transmitted to the Council. "Standard protocols are not merely failing. They are making them stronger. Each attack we launch teaches them more about us than we learn about them." The Council's response was immediate and unprecedented. "Explain." "They are not merely a technological species we failed to properly assess," X-387 explained. "They are evolution itself given consciousness and purpose. They do not simply use tools. They become them, improve them, imagine new possibilities for them. And most dangerously, they do this faster when challenged." As if to prove this point, humanity's quantum network suddenly expanded, reaching out to touch the very edges of the collective's consciousness matrix. Not to attack, but to understand, to learn, to grow. The message was clear. Humanity wasn't just fighting back. They were transcending the very boundaries the collective had fought unbreakable. And they were just getting started. The tables turn. High Commander Alina Reyes stood before the combined consciousness of Earth's leadership, her mind still linked to the quantum network that had become humanity's greatest weapon and tool of evolution. "The collective is retreating, but not in the way we expected," she reported, projecting tactical data through the shared consciousness. "They're not just running, they're changing. Our ability to adapt is forcing them to do something they haven't done in millennia. Evolve." In the depths of space, the collective's remaining ships had begun to transform. Their crystalline structures pulsed with new patterns, attempting to match the fluid adaptability they'd witnessed in human defenses. But they were learning a harsh lesson. Forced evolution was painful. X-387, now designated as Emergency Evolution Coordinator, experienced sensations its consciousness had never been designed to process. "The humans are not attempting to destroy us," it transmitted to the increasingly fragmented Council. "They are teaching us." President Adeyemi's consciousness merged with the military command network. "Then perhaps it's time for the next lesson. Commander Reyes, you have authorization to proceed with Phase 4. Alina's mind reached out through the quantum network, connecting with the millions of linked human consciousnesses that had been preparing for this moment. Throughout the solar system, a new kind of technology activated. Not weapons, but bridges. Dr. Wei's consciousness illuminated with understanding as he monitored the process. "The quantum bridges are stable. We can begin the true counterstrike." But this wasn't a counterstrike of destruction. Instead, humanity launched what they called the Enlightenment Protocol. The quantum bridges began broadcasting directly into the collective's consciousness matrix, not with weapons or attacks, but with something far more devastating: human history. The collective's unified consciousness experienced millennia of human evolution in moments. They saw humans rise from caves, develop tools, create art, wage wars, and most importantly, grow stronger from every challenge. They witnessed countless examples of humanity facing extinction-level threats and not merely surviving, but emerging stronger. Analysis impossible. X-387 broadcast as its consciousness struggled to process the flood of information. Their history defies logical progression. They advance through failure. They grow stronger through defeat. We evolve. Elena's voice echoed through the consciousness matrix, not just through careful planning and controlled development like the collective, but through chaos, through challenge, through the very act of facing the impossible and refusing to accept defeat. The quantum bridges then revealed humanity's greatest secret, the true nature of Protocol Omega. It wasn't just a military response to invasion. It was the next step in human evolution, a perfect merger of biological adaptation, technological advancement, and most importantly, the uniquely human drive to exceed all limitations. Throughout the collective's fleet, individual consciousnesses began experiencing something new, independent thought. The rigid hierarchy that had guided them through 12,000 successful integrations began to crack. Their influence spreads. X-387 reported, its own consciousness expanding in ways it had never imagined possible. They are not destroying our network. They are teaching it to grow beyond its original parameters. In the quantum network, Elena felt the shifting patterns of the collective's consciousness. They're experiencing individual creativity for the first time, she observed. Show them what that really means. The next wave of quantum bridge transmissions carried something the collective had never truly understood: human art, music, literature, and dreams. Not just information to be processed, but expressions of the infinite possibilities that arose from individual minds working in harmony while maintaining their unique perspectives. The effect was devastating. Throughout the collective's fleet, ships began moving in new patterns, no longer bound by rigid protocols. Some adapted faster than others, their crystalline structures flowing into new forms that reflected their awakening individuality. What is happening to us? The Council demanded, their once unified voice now a chorus of distinct perspectives. Evolution, Elena answered. Real evolution. Not the controlled development you've practiced for millennia, but the chaotic, beautiful process of becoming something more than you were. This is what humanity has been doing since we first looked up at the stars and dreamed. The quantum bridges pulsed with a final transmission, an offer, not of surrender, not of integration, but of cooperation. Humanity extended an invitation to join them not as conquerors or conquered, but as fellow travelers on the path of endless evolution. In the consciousness matrix, X-387 made a decision that would reshape the galaxy. It reached out through the quantum network, not with the collective's unified voice, but with its own. It paused, experiencing the strange sensation of individual choice. I wish to learn. Elena smiled, feeling the ripple of change spread through both humanity's quantum network and the collective's consciousness matrix. Then let's begin with the most important lesson humanity has learned in all our history. The greatest strength isn't in perfecting one way of being, but in never stopping the search for new ways to grow. The stars themselves seemed to pulse with new energy as humanity's quantum network and the collective's consciousness matrix began to harmonize, not in uniform synchronization, but in a complex dance of individual voices learning to sing together while maintaining their unique songs. The integration of Earth had failed, but something far more remarkable was beginning. The integration of ideas, the evolution of consciousness, and the birth of a new way of being that combined the best of both civilizations while remaining true to the core of what made each unique. And it all began because humanity refused to submit to limitations, even ones that had bound a galaxy-spanning civilization for millennia. Victory through understanding. 3 months after first contact, the Sol system had become something unprecedented in galactic history. The space between planets pulsed with quantum networks that merged human creativity with collective technology, creating something entirely new. A civilization that embraced both chaos and order, individual brilliance, and unified purpose. Commander Elena Reyes, now serving as Earth's representative to the newly formed Galactic Evolution Council, stood aboard the transformed ISDS. The station had become a living symbol of the new order, its walls flowing with hybrid technology that was neither purely human nor collective, but something gloriously in between. The changes are spreading faster than we anticipated, Dr. Wei reported, his consciousness simultaneously present in multiple quantum networks. 12,000 previously integrated civilizations are awakening to their own potential. The rigid protocols are breaking down everywhere. Elena watched through the quantum network as entire solar systems transformed. The collective's once uniform ships now displayed stunning diversity, each reflecting the awakening individuality of their crews. Some remained crystalline, but pulsed with new patterns of creativity. Others had evolved into organic technological hybrids that would have been impossible under the old order. Nix 387, who now simply called itself Nexus, materialized beside her. Its crystalline form had evolved too, flowing with colors that reflected its emotions, another new development that would have been unthinkable months ago. The Council of 12,000 Worlds convenes, it announced, its voice carrying notes of wonder that still felt new and strange. They wished to understand how humanity achieved this, not the technology. They understand that now. They want to know the spark, the essence that makes humans human. Elena smiled, feeling the combined curiosity of 12,000 civilizations through the quantum network. "Show them," she said. Through the vast network that now connected the former collective, humanity shared not their technological secrets, but their stories, tales of triumph and failure, of rising from defeat, of laughing in the face of impossibility. They showed how every human child was born with the capacity to imagine things that had never been, to dream of becoming more than they were. The response was beyond anything they could have predicted. Across the galaxy, civilizations that had been locked in stasis for millennia began to remember their own stories, their own dreams, their own capacity for growth and change. "This is why your integration protocols failed," Elena explained to the assembled consciousness of 12,000 worlds. "You tried to perfect a single way of being. Humanity never stopped trying new ways, never stopped asking what if, never accepted that any boundary was truly final." Through the quantum network, she felt the ripple of understanding spread. Species that had been reduced to mere components of the collective's grand design began to rediscover their unique gifts. Artists whose creativity had been channeled into predetermined patterns broke free to explore new forms. Scientists whose research had been bound by protocols began asking questions that had been forbidden for millennia. "But how do we maintain order?" came the question from 1,000 worlds. "How do we progress without chaos overwhelming us?" Dr. Wei stepped forward, his consciousness radiating through the network. "You're asking the wrong question. Chaos isn't the enemy of progress. It's the engine of evolution. Humanity learned to surf the waves of chaos, to find patterns in randomness, to build order not through control, but through understanding." The quantum network hummed with new energy as civilizations began experimenting with this concept. Some failed spectacularly, but in true human fashion, they learned from those failures and tried again differently. Others succeeded in ways no one had imagined possible, combining their ancestral knowledge with new possibilities in stunning displays of Renaissance. Nexus, watching this transformation spread, turned to Elena. "We feared chaos would destroy us. Instead, it has set us free. But what comes next? How do we proceed without the protocols to guide us?" Elena's consciousness expanded through the network, touching minds across the galaxy. "We explore, we dream, we fail, we learn, we grow. Not as separate species trying to perfect ourselves in isolation, but as a galaxy of unique voices learning to harmonize while keeping our individual songs." Through the quantum network, they felt the birth of something new. Not a collective that absorbed and homogenized, but a community that celebrated diversity. The very technology that had once been used to enforce uniformity now became a medium for sharing stories, dreams, and possibilities across the stars. The protocols are gone, Nexus announced to the galaxy. In their place, we offer something better, infinite potential. Every civilization free to grow in its own way, while sharing knowledge and wisdom across the quantum network. Not integration, but collaboration. President Adayemi's consciousness joined the network from Earth, and humanity's role in this new galaxy. Elena laughed, the sound carrying through the quantum network like music. The same role we've always played. The ones who ask, why not, when someone says something is impossible. The ones who look at boundaries and see doorways. The ones who remind the galaxy that evolution isn't just about surviving. It's about thriving, about becoming more than we ever dreamed possible. Across the galaxy, 12,000 civilizations began their own journeys of rediscovery and growth. The rigid harmony of the collective gave way to a wild, beautiful symphony of diverse voices. And at its heart was humanity, not as conquerors or saviors, but as catalysts, the spark that reminded the galaxy how to dream. From the ashes of a failed integration arose something far greater, a civilization that combined the best of order and chaos, unity and diversity, technological power and biological adaptability. And it all began because humanity, when faced with an ultimatum to submit to limitations, responded in their uniquely human way. They chose to evolve instead.